It is March 23rd, 2017. This is a special meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority. Present in New York City is Chairman Bradley. In our offices in Albany is Commissioner Ford. Representing the Office of Counsel is Margarita Marsico, and myself, the Secretary of Authority, Tom Donahue. The only matter on this calendar today is item 2017-00708T. It's a request from Counsel's Office for a proposed emergency summary order of suspension with respect to licensee Brooklyn 1943 Incorporated.
Thank you, Secretary. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Ford. This matter is submitted to the members of the New York State Liquor Authority for consideration of emergency summary order of suspension pursuant to Section 4013 of the State Administrative Procedures Act. The situation at Brooklyn 1943 is out of control. On Sunday morning, March 19th at around 5:17 a.m., a patron in the club was executed after a verbal altercation. The investigating detective reports that after viewing the security camera footage from the premises, an argument broke out between the two, lasting between 5 and 10 minutes, during which time no staff or security from the premises intervened to break it up. After those 5 to 10 minutes of altercation, the victim was able to remove himself to the other side of the bar, at which point the assailant snuck up behind him and shot him in the back of the head, point blank. The assailant was then able to disappear into the crowd, again with no apprehension from the security or staff, and he is still at large today. Sadly, the shooting represents the logical culmination and disregard for the alcoholic beverage control law and for the license application at the premise. This premise was licensed on July 8th, 2016, and we have reports from the New York City Police Department Vice Squad that they were engaging in drug buys at the premises as early as July 10th of 2016, going on for several months over the summer. These reports are coming in, and more information will be available as they come. But this premise is generally, they just violate all aspects of the liquor law. The Special Operations Lieutenant for the 90th Precinct has sworn out an affidavit saying that they operate as an after-hours club, that they regularly stay open until after 5:30 in the morning on weekend nights and some nights during the week. The shooting happened at 5:17 in the morning, and the detectives say that there was consumption and sale of alcohol going on when they arrived and shortly before they arrived. The licensee has testified or has admitted under oath to BCI investigators that she rents out the second story of her premises to catered events, and that she doesn't execute contracts with the caterers or the promoters, and that she doesn't have the promoters approved by the SLA. In her original application, she stated that there would be no second business conducted at this authority. So the licensee clearly has no control over what happens on the second floor, especially of this premises. In addition to this unauthorized second business, where people unknown to the SLA are able to control this premise, the licensee submitted several other false material statements on her application. She stated that there would be no dancing at the premises, and we have promotions from the social media pages from this premises saying that there is dancing, and they promote dancing. There's video of dancing. There's no cabaret license. She has a manager, Mr. Michael LeBoy, who was unknown to the authority at the time of this application. There was no personal questionnaire submitted for him. And the proprietary security guard license that she supplied to the licensing department in her application was fraudulent at the time, and it is believed to be fraudulent today as well. Additionally, the detectives reported that there's unauthorized additional bars on the second floor, that they don't comply with the diagrams, and that they have bars on the second floor, that they have DJ booths on the second floor. And this place is essentially they're beyond our regulation. Through its blatant disregard for its original application and for the ABC law, Brooklyn 1943 has proven that it is beyond the scope of regulation from the New York City Police Department and through the SLA. Ms. Jasmine Verk, the principal, cannot control the establishment, and she affirmatively leases it out to individuals that she has no control over and that the SLA does not know and cannot control. During these after-hour parties, crime happens, drugs are sold, and people are executed. This fundamental and flagrant violation of the law has already resulted in one homicide, and there are no circumstances or indicia that this is bound to clear up by this weekend. Each second this establishment is open and trafficking in liquor on the premises, more death, more drugs, and more violence is guaranteed to ensue, and the authority believes that there is a rational basis for this emergency order of suspension.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the second floor is licensed under her application, correct?
Correct. The diagram submitted showed 2 floors of licensing. Her establishment questionnaire say that she is going to use the second floor, and it is licensed.
So I see a statement in here that she made to the police department where she indicates that it's not licensed, which she clearly was either trying to frustrate their investigation or blatantly lying to them.
Correct. Either that or also she's just completely, she doesn't know what's going on at all, and which makes her even more unfit to have this license as well.
So is there, and she's acknowledged renting out that second floor, so do we have an availing charge in here as well?
We don't have the hard evidence yet to bring availing, but an investigation into that is ongoing at the moment.
Commissioner, you have any questions?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Counselor, there's no previous violations from the 90th precinct. It says here that they believed it to be a focal point for police attention, but that there was no record. They thought the place was unlicensed. Did I read that correctly?
Correct. So originally, the 90th precinct believed that the second floor was unlicensed, and they initially did not make referrals to us because they thought it was beyond our power to regulate.
Is that based on her statements to them?
I believe so, yeah. It was not through, they didn't reach out to us to ask that, and I guess they didn't investigate themselves. But they believed that it was unlicensed, and they didn't send referrals our way. Investigator Charles Travali has reached out to the Vice Squad, and he has reached out to the precinct. I have an affidavit from the lieutenant of the 90th Precinct, Special Operations Lieutenant, saying that the place is an after-hours club, that they're receiving calls every weekend about it being an after-hours club, that they have unlicensed security guards, and that there were several incidents such as some larcenies. But I just received referrals from Investigator Travali coming from Vice this morning, saying that they've been investigating drug sales over the summer and that there are numerous drug investigations conducted by Vice that were unknown to the 90th Precinct.
Were any summonses ever issued by the precinct in connection with their belief that the guards were unlicensed?
I haven't received any summons from the precinct. I just have this notarized affidavit from the lieutenant.
Okay. Anything else, Commissioner?
I noticed on the diagram it says party room on the second floor.
Correct.
But on her application, it does state, all right, any other outside areas? No, she doesn't indicate that we use that.
Say that again, I didn't hear you.
List where the proposed premises will be located. First, she doesn't indicate that that room is going to be used for that, but it is indicated as a party room.
Correct. And if I could share some insight that I've had with Investigator Travali. So from what the investigator tells me, there are 2 entrances to this establishment. There's the front entrance, and then there's an entrance on Scott Street. And the front entrance is the primary entrance, and after hours, they'll roll down a full metal roll-down screen gate, and it looks like the establishment is closed up. And so what happens is, I have photographs from the police department when they investigated this homicide. It looks like there's an apartment in one of the back party room, the far party room. It looks like a residential apartment almost. And Investigator Travali, after conferring with the Special Operations Lieutenant, believes that the entrance for that apartment is essentially the after-hours entrance to the club.
That you kind of have to know about, I take it.
Yeah, I would assume.
All right.
Yeah, and the application clearly states that 2 floors are to be licensed. Okay. And you're saying there are more bars than the one bar she's put on her application, which is the customer bar, I assume, on the first floor?
Correct. And yesterday, I was sent photographs of that second bar.
Okay.
Are you prepared to vote now?
Yes. I am.
Yes.
Who'd like to go first? Commissioner Ford?
Yeah, sure. Based upon the referral from the 90th precinct of the NYPD regarding a shooting on the premises of a 22-year-old Jefferson Exantis, which resulted in his death. Amongst the most egregious violation here, obviously, but it appears that those that were employed did little to break up the altercation that led to this 10 minutes prior to that. The establishment seems to allow dancing when that's not allowed. Renting out the top floor, she didn't have a catering license for that either. Was a manager unknown to the SLA, unlicensed guards, so forth and so on. So I definitely vote to summarily order of suspend their license.
I vote to summarily suspend as well. It's obvious that either she has a complete lack of control over this establishment, or she never intended to have any control, given that she just opened and it immediately started operating as an after-hours club as well as a dance club with the DJ we were aware of, but the dancing, obviously, there's a cabaret license that she never received, and indicated on her application there would be no dancing. The security is clearly lapse, because not just as Commissioner Ford pointed out, the violent killing that just occurred, but there's apparently other criminal activity that's occurring regularly on the premises, and it's obvious that she has been less than forthcoming with the police whenever they have tried to investigate it. So I feel like that the authority was served a bill of goods by this woman, and she had no business being open in the first place. So I vote to summarily suspend.
That is the only item I have on the calendar, unless you have anything else, Chairman or Commissioner.
No.
Nope.
All right, well, the meeting is concluded then.